Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're now at the stage of removing the roof. After I'd got all the tiles off and I looked at the roof and realised just how tall it was. It was a bit of a guessing game, a bit of a jigsaw puzzle, trying to work out the best way to dismantle it and get it down safely without it collapsing on the house next door or landing on my head. So what I decided to do was, first of all, work on taking the top part of the roof off. So all the parts of the roof above the main beams, purlins I think they call it, that go all the way around the perimeter. So it's kind of dealing with it in two halves. So what I decided to do was take out every other rafter on the top half first and just see how the roof behaved, whether it started to lose any of its integrity and structure or whether it seemed quite sturdy still. So this is what I'm doing at the moment. As you can see, I'm just taking out every other one. There was a couple that were kind of connected to other supports and braces which I didn't want to remove, so it was every other one barring ones that were connected to a brace. So as you can see there, I've got the recip saw and I'm just cutting them through in the middle. I was quite happy to cut in the middle because I want to keep this wood. It's solid, good quality timber steel. So I obviously wanted it in decent enough length so I could do something with it. So it worked out about 2.4 metres, the top half of it above the purlins. So it's a really high roof. So I was just basically cutting them down bit by bit, putting them on the ceiling joist to make a little bit of a floor, which helped a little bit. You can see me now trying to do it with the handsaw. As it was getting late, I thought I was taking the mick a little bit, so I thought I'd try it with a handsaw rather than the reciprocating saw. But it was difficult, above head height, and the weight of the roof was closing the joint as I was cutting it and clamping the saw, so that wasn't ideal. So this was the only one I persevered with the handsaw. After that I got the reciprocating saw back out. So this is day 2 of the roof removal. So what I'm doing now is I'm starting to take away some of the extra rafters, and it's just basically taking it apart bit by bit now. So I've started to take away some of the supporting braces, and as you can see here, I've fixed the vertical support to the cross member there. I've done it on both ends to the heavy big ridge beam at the top. So I should now be able to cut away and take each rafter bit by bit until I'm left with just the ridge and the 2 vertical supports. I've put 1 screw at the pivot point and 1 screw into the top of each one. So once all the rafters are off, I should be able to, in a controlled way, descend and swing down the rafter so it doesn't just go collapsing uncontrollably, because the last thing I want is the roof coming down with me on it. This is me doing some real dodgy climbing just to get to the top to screw some screws into the ridge. I was surprised just how well this all went, really, because when I stood back and looked at it after I took the tiles off, I did think, how the hell am I going to get this down in one piece on my own without any damage or accidents? So I was pretty chuffed that I'd got to this stage without any major issues. No cuts, no bruises, no falls. So it all gone quite well up to this point. So this is it, guys. This is the moment of truth. Just the ridge and the 2 diagonal braces left. So as you can see here, I rotated it on my rear vertical support, cut the last one at the back, and then in the most controlled, perfect manner, allowed it to just gracefully fall onto the purlin. Great success. I've now got to start taking down some of the bottom part of the roof. None of this is really structural at this point. It's all easily manageable. The purlins come down quite easy. They're a good solid big chunky bits of wood, so I've kept them. In fact, I've kept all of the wood. I've de-nailed about half of it, which took forever, and I've got the other half still to do, but I've used some of it already for packing behind the RSJs, so it's all good solid quality wood, and I'm sure I'll be able to use it for other things like the garage and the porch when it comes to it as well. So this is the easy bit now, just bit by bit, taking it apart and then trying to get it all off of the joists and into the garden. So this was the final piece of the roof taken down. I then spent the next hour and a half to 2 hours getting all the roof timbers into the garden, and as you can now see, I've started dismantling the ceilings in the bungalow now. So there was long cross supports that run straight down the middle of each room that were nailed to the joists. These had to be pry barred and cut out, and then I was able to drop each joist down into the room and then remove it and pull it into the garden. As you can see, there's an awful lot of joists to get rid of. I also had to cut around where the loft hatch was, because I'd put that loft hatch in myself, so it was screwed and timber locked in place, which was a right pain. The rest of it all come apart quite easy, as it was all just nailed in with 60 to 70 year old nails. So the roof and joist demolition is complete. It was a lot of hard graft. The tiles especially was something that I really underestimated just how much there was, 16 tons worth in the end. There's a lot of wheelbarrowing and a lot of destruction, but we got there in the end. Thank you for watching. Take care.